Now, because the transfer of Christian Pulisic, the American 20-year-old, has been confirmed from Borussia Dortmund. Mark, I know you've been all over this story, wrote a column on ESPN FC about it. It's a deal that's been a long time in the making, right?
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea's been working on this for quite a while, and I think what they realise is that there's not really a market for Pulisic out in the Premier League at the moment. Liverpool are well stocked with forwards, United are well stocked with young forwards, Arsenal the same, Tottenham the same, so really they didn't have any domestic rivals, and the same applies in Europe, you know, PSG, Real Madrid, they're looking elsewhere. So Chelsea knew that they needed a young attacking forward. Pulisic ticks the box, and they've got it done, and I think, you know, ideally they'd need him in there now, but the deal works for Dortmund to keep him until the summer, and then Pulisic moves in the summer as well. But I think when he does arrive, I think Eden Hazard might be on his way, especially if they don't make the Champions League again.
Were you surprised, Mark, by the sum of money involved? We're looking at his statistics here, and obviously he hasn't been as involved this year with the Borussia Dortmund first team under Lucien Favre, but $73 million. Did that surprise you?
Not really, no. I mean, I just think the transfer market's changed over the last 2 years. The Neymar deal, which is the world record, you know, 198 million euros, it changed everything. I think, you know, when Man City paid £50 million for Kyle Walker, a fullback, you know, Pulisic at that sort of money for a 20-year-old attacking forward who's got a great potential. I just think that's the market these days. I think Chelsea paid it because they had to pay it, and for me, it's that is now mid-range in terms of transfer fees. It's not an astronomical fee.
Yeah. It's funny that we're talking about $73 million, Craig, now being mid-range. What did you make of it?
It is, and Chelsea need to freshen up, and they need to go younger in their signings, and they have. And look, I'll get to the point with this one. Personally, I think he's an excellent player.
Yeah. An
excellent player, lots of talent, but he's not playing at Dortmund at the moment for a reason, and that's because Lucien Favre, in their top of the league, has better options than Brun Larsen, in his opinion. And Jadon Sancho, who's been excellent and has made his England debut. But the one thing I would say about this is you have to make the right move, and it has to work for you. Looking at this move to Chelsea, it's a great move from a big club, a great club, to another great club, but it comes with risk. When we look at some of the players Chelsea have signed in recent years, some big names who have struggled to go in there and make their mark, it's quite daunting. You know, Bakayoko being the recent one, Batshuayi for huge money. Cuadrado was more experienced. You got Zuma, you got Mo Salah who went in there as a 21-year-old. Then you got Schürrle, then you got one of the best players in the world in Kevin De Bruyne, and of course Romelu Lukaku, who had to go out on loan and is now plying his trade at Man United. But whether you blame Mourinho or anybody else for this, all these guys went into Chelsea and they struggled. They struggled to get game time, and you know, they had to move on somewhere else to get it. And the point being is that what he's not getting at the moment is minutes on the field. And whilst he's got time on his side, he really has to gain experience, and he's not going to get that sitting on the bench. I'm not saying he will, but he might, and it has happened to better players than Christian Pulisic, and he's got to hope for his sake that whoever's managing that football club really likes him, and he's going to get game time.
Because it's not necessarily going to be Sarri, as you pointed out.
Well, that's the other point. Lots of people are saying, well, you know, Maurizio Sarri, Christian Pulisic will suit the way Sarri plays. That's understandable, but one of the other things we looked at was the Chelsea model for how their management structure is, and Chelsea model the structure on Real Madrid, because what they do is, if they have no success, they chop and change the manager.
Yeah.
Now, that has been very successful for them, but that means as a player, when you go to a club like Chelsea, you don't know in 12 months, 18 months or 2 years who's going to be managing that football club, because Roman Abramovich does not see the top four, like some clubs, as success. If you don't win trophies at Stamford Bridge, you're out.
I personally think Maurizio Sarri will be there at least through next season. So,
oh yeah, he will be, yes.
So for me, that's where Pulisic and his immediate future lies. I think it's good business by Chelsea. By Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund. If you're Chelsea, you don't want it to last this summer. Speculation around Pulisic and Arsenal, Manchester United. Do you wait till the summer and there be a bidding war? You don't want that if you're Chelsea Football Club. For Borussia Dortmund, you do want it to wait till the summer. You know that can bump the price up, hence the rather hefty relative high price tag in January. So that makes perfect sense, and Borussia Dortmund get to keep hold of the player. Now, right now, I don't see Pulisic getting into this Chelsea team. But you look at the players who are ahead of him. Willian is 30 years old. Pedro is 31. N'Golo Kante, who plays a lot deeper than Pulisic naturally does.
Yeah.
Speculation around his future, despite him signing a contract earlier, just a few months ago. So it makes sense, and it ticks a lot of boxes for Chelsea. Now, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I think because of his age, you get your money back if you do invest now, which, despite the failures that they've had, they've always been able to get their money back.
Before we go to Matt, just quickly, I agree. I think it's good business for Chelsea. It's a lot of money. I think it's great business for Dortmund, particularly as they keep him to the end of the season. And he will get game time, probably off the bench, but they're going for a Bundesliga title. So it works all round. I'm only pointing out that you know, going to West London, going to a club that strives for success, that only deals with winning trophies, whether it be in Europe or domestically, is that it has its pitfalls. It has its pitfalls, and you've got to be very, very careful, in Christian Pulisic's terms, that he's making the right move, which he thinks he is, and it's going to further his career. And for some players that we put on the graphic, it was a problem for them.
Yeah. Mark, it's very hard not to tie this move from Chelsea to the future of Eden Hazard, isn't it? What does it say to you? Does it mean Hazard is gone and Pulisic is the potential replacement?
Well, I mean, they play on different sides of the pitch, but I do think that Hazard's future is the big question at Chelsea. And the thing is with Hazard, he's made it pretty clear that he wants to play in Spain. He wants to go to La Liga. Real Madrid is his dream scenario, but Real haven't made any contact yet. So if Real don't make any contact, where does he go? He's 28 on Monday. So he's getting to the point in his career where his next move is this crucial move. And if Real don't come calling, what are the options for Eden Hazard? He might have to stay at Chelsea. And if he does stay at Chelsea, then Pulisic and Hazard together is a great combination going forward. But it all depends on Hazard. I think if Chelsea miss out on the Champions League, which I do think they will this season, I think either United or Arsenal catch them, then there's no way that Eden Hazard will stay for another year at Chelsea in the Europa League. He'll find a move, but I do think that his dream move to Real Madrid is the one that everyone's waiting for, and it just needs Real to start making a move and start talking money. But I just can't see Hazard being there next season. I think he served his time at Chelsea.
He does. It's a good point, Mark. If they get in the Champions League, that will help them. But I think ultimately, if Real Madrid come along, then it's going to turn your head. The question is they'll have more irons in the fire than just Eden Hazard. You know what I mean? They might just sit tight till the summer. There's other players out there. There's Mbappe. There's Neymar. There are other players that they would want to sign. The downside, again, you know, if that does happen and Hazard does stay at Chelsea and he's been very good for them and then for him, is that only leaves one position, really, for Christian Pulisic to get into, because, you know, Eden Hazard will play wide. He won't play through the middle next year because Chelsea will buy a striker. You know, they're not. They will. Yeah. I mean, 100%. They will go out in the summer or in this January, probably the summer, and they will buy a frontline top-notch striker. So, you know, that means for young Pulisic that it could be even more difficult than it is if Hazard doesn't go to Madrid.
So Chelsea's struggling for goals at the moment. The same certainly can't be said for Manchester United. 4 wins out of 4 now for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 2-0 at St James's Park against Euro boys Shakhtar. They had to be patient in this one. Had to wait till 65th minute for the breakthrough. Off the bench, Lukaku.
You're playing against Newcastle United, home or away. You're going to have to be patient, especially any team in or around the top 6. That's how Rafa Benitez has gone about business for the last couple of seasons. But credit to Manchester United. Yes, it was a tough start. Found Newcastle hard to break down, or Dubravka hard to get by, despite Newcastle trying to shoot themselves in the foot on a couple of occasions. And then in the end, it's a Dubravka error that brought the opening goal. And you saw Manchester United look cool, look calm, look confident, despite the you know, not being able to break Newcastle down. I can't remember having a save of note through the 96 minutes or whatever it was. If I'm a Manchester United fan, I am delighted with what I've seen over the last
I'm delighted that Mourinho's gone. That was the first thing, and that was clear. Yeah. I'm happy that they brought a guy in that's putting a smile back in the face, and I've said in this show before, I think also bringing Mike Phelan in was probably the best move that they made. And so the 4 games have been great, and you see the players are playing with a smile, they're playing with more freedom, they're scoring goals. You've got a guy comes off the bench in Lukaku and scores with his first touch straight away. It's all going for you. But I'm not changing my stance on this one, Adrian. I'm telling you, I'm reserving judgment until they're not playing the dregs of the Premier League. Bournemouth apart, who were on a horrendous run of results, when United played them. 8 losses in 10 and a host of injuries. And then the other teams that they've played have been from 15th place down. So I'm reserving judgment on just what's happening at Man United.
But here's the thing. If you're Manchester United, given what we've seen so far up until the arrival of Solskjaer, top 4 is a celebration here.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's within touching distance. Given Chelsea's dropping points in a couple of their last 3 games, the fact that Arsenal are now, just 3 points ahead of Manchester United. They've got Spurs to come, but after that, the next 4, I think, are very winnable for Manchester United. And then all of a sudden, you're thinking top 4 is a realistic chance, which 3 or 4 weeks ago, you would not have thought.
Mark, let's go to you. I know you're around United on almost a daily basis. You must have suspected it was going to be different under Solskjaer, but perhaps not this different.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mood in the camp was pretty down under Mourinho. It was always going to be a lift, but the games, like Craig says, the 4 games they've had have been games that you would expect them to win. I mean, perhaps not under Mourinho, but generally Man United win these games. Tottenham away is the next league game, and that for me is a real test. I mean, Tottenham at Wembley hammered United last season. It was a 2-0 hammering, really, and I think United have got to be careful when they go there that we haven't seen Solskjaer's tactical nous yet. Can he set up a team against a good team like Tottenham? What can he do when they go behind, when they have to change a game, when they have to change a formation? He's not had to do that yet. And I do think that the danger at the minute is that if Solskjaer does well and continues to do well, it gives United a problem they don't really want, that the emotion takes over, that everybody wants Solskjaer to get the job. And it starts to remind me of Roberto Di Matteo at Chelsea, that, yeah, he's brought a bit of a smile to everyone's face and he might even win something, but they've got to be cold-headed and ruthless about this. End of the season, they have to make a cold judgment. Is he the right man to take United forward? Let's wait and see.
Well, Mark has been very busy for us over on ESPN FC. You can read his column not only on Christian Pulisic, but also about the whole January transfer window. Pulisic was featured in that yesterday, the players most likely to move in this transfer window. Well, the big one on Thursday at the Etihad. Manchester City and Liverpool, 7 points separating them. Liverpool have won 2 more games. They've scored 6 fewer goals, but conceded only half the total of Manchester City. Their goal difference is plus 40, staggering really after 20 games. So whenever we have a big game, it's an FC tradition, isn't it? A combined 11, especially for you, Craig. This is Mark Ogden's combined City-Liverpool 11. You think with Liverpool on top, there'd be maybe more Liverpool players, but it's still dominated by City players, I believe. Actually, I haven't totted them up.
Henderson?
Yeah.
Henderson can't get into a combined Liverpool 11.
It's about half and half, to be fair to Mark. Pep gets the managerial nod, interestingly.
Well, it's very anti-Liverpool, isn't it? Clearly.
Mark's very anti-Liverpool.
No Aguero?
He's been injured. Any main qualms with this selection?
No, Robertson obviously at left back. They've been a position that's been struggling for them. Laporte's had a great season. Van Dijk's been, arguably Europe's outstanding defender. Walker's been a bit up and down recently, but still over Trent Alexander-Arnold with his experience, and he's a very, very good player. Yeah. Just not quite been himself in recent weeks. So obviously De Bruyne has his injury problems this season. Fernandinho's the best holding midfielder in Europe for me. I think when he's out that City side, and he has been, they lost the games that he was out. That was a big problem for them, but he's back now. And listen, this game, I mean, whilst effectively they could tie the season up, Liverpool. I mean, okay, they've had a lead when Brendan Rodgers was manager. Yeah. They were winning with less time to go, and they threw it away. But if they do beat City, it's, 10 points over City and 9 over Tottenham. Yeah. That's a big mountain to climb for the other teams.
It's pretty close to a must-win, isn't it, for Man City?
Yes, it is.
Given the 10 points.
Yeah, and Craig mentioned the season under Brendan Rodgers. You can't help but draw similarities between the two. But I just feel this team has some of this team has that experience. I also feel they take heart from a very deep Champions League run where they get to the final. I don't see this team throwing it away. Where it comes right down to. Not a 10-point lead. If Liverpool win, I think, just close the books up. Liverpool are going to see this home.
Mark, a lot of the things we're wondering about revolve around the style of game, the quality of game that we might see at the Etihad. It was a pretty tedious 0-0 draw between these two teams at Anfield earlier this season. Presumably we're not going to see the same.
I don't think so. I mean, I was at the game last season when Liverpool came here in the Champions League quarter-final 1-2-1. These games are usually two attacking sides that, aren't basically scared of each other. They should be, but they want to win the game, and I think they're both prepared to attack. So I expect goals on Thursday. And I think, I think the guys are right. If City don't win this, it is really, really difficult for anyone to catch Liverpool. And the reason why is that it's the goals conceded. Back in 2014, they conceded 50 goals under Brendan Rodgers. That's why they didn't win the league. This time they conceded 8, and 8 goals in 20 games. And, I know Shaka might feel this quite painfully, but we talk about the Newcastle team in '96. They had the similar kind of attacking quality as this Liverpool side, but what let them down in the end was that inability to keep the ball out of the net. And I just don't see Liverpool having that problem this time. I think Liverpool are too strong at the back, unless Van Dijk gets injured. If he gets injured, they've got a problem.
I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel that at all, Mark. Thank you very much.
I think this thing is, last year, rightly or wrongly, even in the Champions League, I think when Liverpool knocked them out, I picked City. They had a bad time. They had a terrible time at Anfield. They were taken apart. But I kind of trusted them in most games. Whenever I was watching them, I found it difficult to find a way that they would lose.
Yeah.
I haven't got that feeling at this moment in time. I just don't. I think they've looked a bit more fragile. I talked about Walker. He's just been making 1 or 2 more mistakes. The left-back position's been an issue for them, no matter what the manager says. Coming out and praising Zinchenko, saying, "Oh, he's great." It's a problem, and Liverpool will target that area. And then obviously Liverpool's defence is now. And the goalkeeper has been so much better. So they could play this game any... We're talking to Steve Nicola about it yesterday. He said they could play it any way they want. They could sit off Man City and try and soak it for a bit with the structure they've got, or they could go and press them and really try and stifle the life out of them and win the ball back and City's half. And he thinks that's what Liverpool will do. So it'll be interesting to see how Jurgen Klopp approaches this game, whether it's a cautious approach, which I really don't think it will be, or whether it's to go for the jugular and try and knock the stuffing out of City's title challenge.
Yeah. Prediction time, Mark. I know you guys all love this. You mentioned it, I think, this game a year ago, the same fixture, 5-0 Man City. That seems an era ago, though, doesn't it? A whole different era. What's going to happen tomorrow? What are you thinking?
I think that City will win this game. I just think that if De Bruyne plays, I mean, is he fully fit? We don't know. I just think City have to win the game. When a team has to win, I just think it gives them an extra edge. And I don't see Liverpool coming here to defend and come away with a 0-0. But I do think that they know that they can afford to lose. And I think City know they can't. And people keep forgetting how good a team City are. I mean, they won the league by 19 points last season. They've got a great manager in Pep Guardiola. And they'll probably relish the fact that people are almost writing them off already. It's only January, and I think that there's a lot of football to be played this season.
City win for Mark. Did you two concur?
They are a great side, but I do think that Klopp is somebody that he's worried about, and rightly so. And he's mentioned that in press conferences. I'm going to sit in the fence, and I'm going to say Liverpool will get a draw, and they'll be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
I think City at home get a narrow win. Two teams that don't necessarily do narrow results, but I see it as a 1-0 for City.
Interesting. We will see who was right on tomorrow's